Title: The White Custodian. Part 2: The Trials. In Part 2, The Trials, the focus shifts to the challenges and trials that Daniel faces as he undergoes training and confronts the spiritual test in the labyrinth of echoes. Kojo's actions and internal conflict are also highlighted, leading to a crisis in the village. Daniel is summoned to the Circle of Dust, where the elders and Nanaya explain the labyrinth of echoes test. This sacred journey into the forest's inner mouth is a trial where the ancestors speak not in dreams, but in memory. Daniel must face not spirits, but himself, and if they find his soul hollow they will unmark him. As Daniel enters the labyrinth, he encounters various visions and challenges. He meets a younger version of himself, the trickster Ananse, and a colonial figure who forces him to confront his academic arrogance. Daniel surrenders his academic knowledge to the forest and accepts his role as a witness and keeper. Meanwhile, Kojo performs a forbidden ritual to curse Daniel, believing it will reveal him as a fraud. Nanaya confronts Kojo about his actions, warning him of the consequences of disturbing sacred laws. The elders discuss Kojo's actions and decide to strip him of his ancestral candidacy if Daniel survives. In the labyrinth, Daniel faces the final trial where he steps into the river of memory and sees visions of the ancestors. He realizes that he is a witness and keeper, not an owner of the stories. The ancestors accept him, and he returns from the labyrinth, marked by the gods. Let's ride on. Chapter 6: Between Staff and Flame. The air inside Nanaya's shrine was thick with incense, memory, and silence. The walls, made of red earth and age, carried the scent of generations. Calabashes hung from the rafters, each one bearing a symbol, a name, a prayer, a warning. Kojo stepped in without asking permission. His footsteps were heavy, deliberate. His presence announced itself like thunder before rain. Nanaya sat on a low stool, grinding dried herbs in a smooth black bowl. She did not look up. "So you come like a thief, but you knock like a king," she said softly. "I came for answers," Kojo replied, his voice low but hard. "Not riddles." But the grinding stopped. She lifted her head slowly. Her eyes, cloudy with age yet sharper than any blade, locked onto his. "Then ask your questions, and be ready for answers you may not like." Kojo stepped closer, fists clenched at his sides. "Why him, Nana? Why not someone from here? Someone who knows the taste of our dust, who speaks to the trees not as study but as memory." "You mean you?" she asked, not unkindly. "I mean anyone who carries our blood," he shot back. "Son, you chose a stranger, a man who does not belong." Nanaya stood, the movement slow but powerful, her staff in hand. "I chose no one," she said. "And the gods did, as they did when they called me, as they did when they chose Akua the mute girl, as they did when they let the twin boy live while his brother died. And that was different." He took a step forward, anger flashing in his eyes. "When you trained me, you know what I've given for this path. And I see what pride has taken from you," she replied sharply. "Sin, you seek a title, not a calling. You want the staff, not the silence that comes with it." For a moment Kojo said nothing. Then, more quietly, "If I've heard of the labyrinth." Her brow lifted. Nanaya was quiet for a long time. Then she spoke, voice like smoke curling from coals. "Do not mistake the labyrinth for justice, Kojo. It is not punishment, it is communion. If he walks it and comes back whole, the village must bow, including you." She looked away, toward the carved mask of Nyame that hung above the doorway. and the gods will speak again, in their own language. Kojo turned to leave but paused at the threshold. Sen, you once told me the spirits only choose once. If that's true, then we'll soon see if they chose right. And he walked into the dusk, leaving behind the scent of crushed herbs and the quiet rustle of something ancient waking. Chapter 7. The trial named in silence. The summons came at dawn, a knock, then another, not frantic, not timid, measured, like the drums before war. Daniel stirred from restless sleep, the lingering scent of smoke and river water clinging to his dreams. He opened the door to find Abena, her face grave, her blue head wrap darker than usual. "In there calling you," she said simply. Daniel's chest tightened. "Who?" "The elders, and Nana Ya." At the circle of dust, he nodded, grabbing his sandals and the small notebook he still clung to like a lifeline. As they walked through the early morning fog, villagers began to emerge from doorways and lean over fences. Their eyes followed him, not hostile but not warm either. By the time they reached the circle of dust, a wide ring of cleared earth beneath the Iroko trees, the council was already seated. Nana Ya stood apart, leaning on her staff, flanked by 4 firebowls, each unlit. Kojo stood just beyond the circle, arms folded, expression unreadable. Daniel stopped at the center. No one told him where to stand. He just knew. An elder with a sunken jaw and a leopard print shawl spoke first. "The gods have marked you. That is truth." Another, her face painted with white ash, added, "But not all truths are complete." Nana Ya stepped forward, voice firm. "The village has asked for an old test, one that predates my own calling, one that even the gods will not interrupt." "The labyrinth of echoes," she said, "a sacred journey into the forest's inner mouth. There the ancestors speak not in dreams but in memory. You will face not spirits, but yourself, and if they find your soul hollow, they will unmark you," Kojo finished, stepping into the circle. Daniel turned toward him. "And who decides if I fail?" Then Nana Ya asked almost gently, "Will you walk it?" Daniel felt the weight of the question press into his ribs. He looked at the elders, at Kojo's calculating gaze, at Abena's quiet worry, and then at the flames in the bowls, now igniting one by one without a spark, as if the wind itself had caught fire. The flames flared, then stilled. Nana Ya nodded. "Then prepare. At first light tomorrow you enter, and you do not return until the forest says you may." Daniel looked down at his palm, the faint crescent still there, now tingling as if awake again. He didn't know if he'd return the same, or return at all. Chapter 8. Into the mouth of the forest. The sun had barely risen when Daniel stood before the mouth of the forest. A narrow trail choked by vines and silence. No birds sang here. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. He was dressed in plain white cloth, no shoes, no charms. Around his neck hung a single string of cowries, blessed by Nana Ya the night before. She had whispered only one thing as she tied it: "If they show you what you fear, do not run. If they show you what you love, do not reach." The path ahead bent into shadow. Behind him, the entire village watched in silence. Kojo stood beside the fire bowls, arms crossed. Nana Ya held her staff but said nothing. Daniel took a step forward, then another. The air thickened around him like wet fabric. As he passed beneath the first arch of hanging roots, the world behind him disappeared in a hush. Not a closing sound, but an erasing one. The forest swallowed him whole. Inside, the trees shifted shape when he wasn't looking. The ground breathed beneath his feet. The air smelled of ash and wet earth. Every footstep sounded like it echoed from 10 miles away. Time no longer moved in hours. It dripped. He walked. And then, he heard it, drums. Soft at first, then louder. The rhythm was strange, a pattern not found in books. A rhythm that tugged at the chest, not the ears. He followed it, branches parting like they recognized him. Then he saw it. A boy sitting by a fire, back turned. Small, barefoot, drawing in the dirt with a stick. Daniel stepped closer. When the boy looked up, Daniel's breath caught. It was him. A younger Daniel, 6, maybe 7. The one from home videos, from broken photo albums. Freckled cheeks, oversized jumper, sad eyes. "Do you remember me?" the boy asked. Daniel nodded, barely whispering, "Ah, I do." "Then why did you stop listening?" The boy pointed behind him, and suddenly the forest changed. Flames roared. Museum walls appeared, white and cold. Artifacts behind glass. A Ghanaian drum labeled West African Ritual Object. A staff like Nana Ya's. Behind rope. The child Daniel stared at it from the other side. "And you wrote a paper about this, but you never asked what it wanted." Daniel tried to respond, but the scene cracked like glass. The museum burned away, darkness, then laughter, familiar, mischievous. From the trees dropped a figure, tall, gangly, spider-limbed. A man wearing 8 golden rings on his fingers and a grin that gleamed too many teeth. "Cha! The chosen one," the figure purred. "Come to dance with the truth." "Some call me Ananse," the figure said, bowing dramatically. "Trickster, story keeper, web spinner, memory thief. Depends who's telling it." He began circling Daniel. "So let's test your memory, little librarian. Tell me, what was the name of the god who watched your dreams 3 nights ago?" Daniel hesitated. Ananse's smile curled. Not ready yet. You'll learn." Then he vanished, poof, like laughter on the wind. Daniel fell to his knees. The forest was spinning. He clutched the cowries around his neck. A whisper brushed his ear. "We are calling you." And deeper within, the path bent again, this time downward. Into memory's roots, into the truth that books could never write. And Daniel walked on. Chapter 9, Ash Beneath the Altar. Kojo had not slept. The forest had swallowed Daniel Whitaker hours ago. And still the villagers hovered around its edge, some whispering prayers, others simply watching, as if expecting the trees to spit him back out like a seed that never took root. Kojo watched too. But not with hope. With calculation. He stood beneath the overhang of an abandoned yam barn, flanked once again by Mensa and Ebo. The 2 men said nothing as Kojo unwrapped the small cloth bundle he had hidden beneath his cloak. Inside, a handful of black sand from the old sacrificial ground, a piece of burnt bark from the fire that had once consumed the first shrine, and a dried tongue from a goat never offered. "Tenanaya no longer sees clearly," Kojo cut in. "The gods may have chosen the Oberoni, but they did not silence us. The land remembers more than chants and dreams. It remembers anger, and so do I." Ebo frowned. "You plan to curse him?" "No," Kojo said coldly. "So I plan to reveal him." He knelt on the ground and began drawing symbols into the dust with the burnt bark. The others watched in tense silence as he mixed the black sand with ash and blood, his own, drawn from a quick cut on his palm. He whispered words his mother once forbade him to speak. "Oh, Samank, open your eyes. Hear me." If this man is false, if he wears the mark unearned, pull him down, twist his path, wake the bones beneath the roots, show the village what truth truly is. The wind shuddered through the trees. A sudden gust blew out the lantern behind them. Mensa stepped back. "So spirits may not answer how you expect." Kojo stood, rubbing the mixture between his fingers. "And let them speak." He tossed the cursed dust into the wind, toward the forest, toward Daniel. And the moment it touched the air, the baobab leaves began to twitch, even though the wind had died. Back at the forest's edge, Nanaya opened her eyes sharply. Something old and bitter had shifted in the air. Something that did not come from the gods. She reached for her staff and whispered, "Kojo, what have you done?" Chapter 10. The Consequence of Shadows. The rain came without warning. A fine mist at first, then a steady, stubborn drizzle that soaked into the red earth like a secret being buried. Nanaya walked with purpose through the village paths, her staff striking the ground in rhythm with the thunder rumbling in the distance. People parted as she passed, not out of fear but reverence. They knew something was stirring, and that the old ways were moving through her again. At the edge of the yam barn she found him. Kojo was kneeling, brushing the last traces of ash from the ritual site he thought no one had seen, but Nanaya had always known. The forest didn't just hear prayers, it echoed secrets. She stopped 3 paces behind him. Her voice was calm, too calm. "When you have called the forgotten ones, and you have summoned a power that even the gods sealed with silence." He turned slowly. Insla called for justice. "No," she said, stepping forward, staff now gripped in both hands. "She called for vengeance. There is a difference." Kojo stood. The rain had matted his hair to his forehead. His eyes burned not with guilt, but with a stubborn, trembling fire. "Then he doesn't belong, Nana. He can't. I walk in the dust of our forefathers. He walks with a notebook. And yet the spirits mark him," she replied, eyes unblinking. "Have you never asked why?" "I have," he shouted, "and the only answer I hear is silence." She stepped closer now, so close he could feel her breath, her age, her pain. "That silence, Kojo, was space for you to listen. But instead, you filled it with your pride." "You've disturbed the threshold," she said. "The labyrinth will not hold still. If Daniel falls, it may not be only him who's lost." Kojo looked away, just for a moment. And that moment was enough. Nanaya placed her palm over his heart, her staff pressing lightly against his chest. "Do not make me cast you out, child. I have known your voice since it was but a cry in the womb. But I will not allow you to rewrite prophecy with powder and shadow." His jaw tightened. "Only if he survives, will you let him lead us?" "Infisa will not need to," she said. "To land will..." And then, in a voice like the whisper of bark splitting under fire, "And pray that he does survive. Because if he doesn't, we will all suffer what you have awoken." She turned and left him standing in the rain, alone. For the first time, Kojo felt something worse than fear. Doubt. Chapter 11. When the gourd cracks. The rain had passed, leaving the earth steaming, the trees dripping like old tongues tasting the air. In the house of Calabash, a circular hut reserved for matters too sacred for sunlight, the elders gathered by lantern light, 12 of them, all gray-headed, all chosen not just for their age, but for their memory. At the center sat Elder Nyamakai, the oldest among them. His beard flowed like river grass. His hands, though bent by time, held the staff of judgment. a carved ebony cane that had not been lifted in over a decade. "When we speak," he began, his voice a dry rumble, "not of death, not yet, but of disturbance." The others murmured. Elder Amma, face painted with white clay, spoke next. "And Kojo is called the Nsamanko. We know this. And Forest does not sleep easy now," murmured Elder Sekier. "And I heard drums in my walls last night. But no one was playing." Elder Nyamaki nodded slowly. "And the White One walks the labyrinth, marked, yet cursed from behind." They all fell silent. Then Elder Mansa, the only one among them with a voice still sharp as machete, leaned forward. "One question is not whether Kojo is wrong," she said. "And the question is, what will we do when he won't stop?" The silence returned. It felt heavier this time. "What if we confront him publicly?" said Bediako. "And he will not back down. He will divide the village." "And if we say nothing," said Amma, "if we risk the gods punishing us for cowardice." "And ancestors watch how we hold the gourd," murmured Nyamaki. "Not just if we spill it." Then Elder Mansa whispered the words no one wanted to say. "Perhaps it is time to strip him." A gasp. Sharp intake of breath from more than one mouth. To strip someone of ancestral candidacy, to declare them spiritually unfit, was a punishment older than kingship. It meant Kojo would never again enter the shrine, touch a sacred drum, or speak the gods' names in ritual. It would mark him in ways the body did not forget. Nyamakai's voice was slow but firm. "If the one inside the labyrinth returns broken, it may not matter. But if he survives, and Kojo still defies the gods, then yes, we will strip him." The staff of judgment was laid down between them. No vote needed. The silence was the vote. Outside, the wind stirred. Inside, the old ways shifted slightly in their bones, waiting.